Hello friends and welcome. I'm Sarah Liz and I am back with another emergency card kit. If you're new to my channel, an emergency card is one where we make the card ahead of time, but we leave the sentiment off. That way, when an occasion arises, we can choose the card that best fits the recipient and the sentiment that best fits the occasion. We now have 3 different styles of emergency sentiments. And to help you with this, I release a free printable on the 1st and 3rd Friday of every month. That is a slightly newer schedule for us, so just be aware that in April, it might not be the 1st and 15th anymore. So the 1st and 3rd Friday. Let's take a look at the kit. We have a plant and flower themed kit this time around, and a huge shout out to June who left me a whole bunch of really amazing sentiments, many of which ended up in this kit. Have a plant-tastic day, a grateful heart blooms, let love grow, I married you for your plants. My life is a disaster, but my plants are thriving. Where hope grows, miracles bloom. Happy birthday. A bouquet of birthday blessings. I hope your birthday doesn't suck, like succulents, right? I thought it was funny. Teachers plant seeds that grow forever. Happy blooming birthday. Happy birthday to my favorite pothead, like for potted plants. And I showed it to my husband. He was like, babe, people might take that like out of context. I said, it's a plant themed kit. Potted plants, you guys. Potted plants. Thank you for helping me grow. Here's to another year of growth. No rain, no flowers. I'm so excited. I wet my plants. So these circle sentiments are 1 3/4 of an inch, and then the printed circle is ever so slightly larger. If you want to use a different size circle or a different shape, here is the same size sentiments, but without that circle. Then we have our rectangular sentiments, all the same, slightly reformatted, and then 2 of them get repeated down here at the bottom. Then we have our strip sentiments. We have the same 4 fonts as last time. This one is still kind of new. You guys seem to really like that one. But if you have recommendations for replacing any of the other ones, I would love to know about it. And then on the circle sentiments, there's a bunch of new font pairings. So if there's a style that you really like, let me know that too. The upcoming kits include Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduation, and masculine cards. If you have other ideas for kits or particular requests for sentiments or puns, I'm here for all of your puns. I want to know about it. And then I want to know if there's interest for wedding and anniversary cards and if there's requests for new baby cards. I had maybe 3 people request that last time and I hadn't gotten that one before. So just let me know. And if I get enough requests, I can put it on the list. These printables are completely free for subscribers, full of sentiments and card design ideas. So if you think that might be helpful, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll be notified every time there's a free printable kit. Next, we have our card sketch. So our first measurement is 1/4 inch by 5.5 inches, and it's these 2 purple strips on either side of our card. That's in case you want to conserve like a specialty cardstock or use up a scrap, but I'm just going to go ahead and use a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of pattern paper. And then when I add the next layer on top of it, which is this pink rectangle at 3 3/4 by 5.5 inches, it will leave me 1/4 inch on either side. So I'm going to go ahead and add that with my wet glue. You can use pattern paper for this layer, but I decided to use an embossing folder. This is the Flower Frenzy from Spellbinders, and I just love the deep impression that you get. And then I went all over the top of it with some white shimmer ink just to bring out some of the highlights. The next measurement is this gray rectangle that is 3 3/4 by 2 inches. And I've considered adding this rectangle of vellum running across the top here. You could even tuck it behind that yellow cardstock. But I think I'm going to skip it this time. In our next card, we'll definitely add that rectangle. Then I have 2 rectangles down here at the bottom. The darker one is 4 1/4 by 1 1/4 inches. That's this black piece here. And then I have another piece that's 4 1/4 by 1 inch. And I'm just going to glue those together. So this piece is going to go towards the bottom of my card along with my 2-inch circle for my sentiment. One of the things I love about this sketch is that it leaves you this big open space to create a scene out of die cut pieces or stamped images or ephemera or whatever you have in your stash. I've been doing a lot of die cutting lately because I bought a bunch of new stuff. You guys, like an embarrassing amount of stuff. I have a haul video. I will link maybe at the end of this video if you want to see what all I got. But these bees were at the very, very top of that list, and I've been wanting to use them. So I cut out and assembled all 4 of the bees from the Happy Bee dies from Waffle Flower. And I love that it's only 3 dies. So all of your black pieces, all your yellow pieces, all your wings, all at the same time, which is really great. And then to make sure I had black eyes and mouths, I just used the black piece that was left over from that middle spot and tucked it right behind these openings. So it was super quick and easy. And then I cut out and assembled one of the flowers from the fresh picked anemones from Spellbinders. And I'm just going to make a little scene on my card. I'm going to try to figure out where I want everything to go. I almost did just the bees, but I was like, they need to be attracted to a flower. So I just played around until the die cuts were where I liked them. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece for now. I have a piece of clear sticky mat. These come in a 3-pack on Amazon, and it's fairly tacky. I'm going to use this to pick up all my die cuts and lay them back down. So I'm going to stick this in the bottom left corner, and I'm going to line it up on the 2 sides, and I will just press to pick up all of those pieces. Now, over time, it does lose its stick a little bit, so I like to flip the whole thing over and then pick up the card base, and I have all of my die cut pieces sitting there. Then I can add glue onto the back of these and add my card base back on. So now I have glue on there, and I'm just going to take my card base, flip it upside down, and lay it in the bottom right-hand corner, right? I'm just lining everything up. And then all of those pieces will be exactly where they were when I picked them up. I'll flip it over. I can press firmly. I do want to give my glue a minute to grab on. And then once I give that a second, I can slowly lift this up from the corner. Whoops. And if anything's coming up that I don't want to, I'll just stick my hands in there and kind of press it down. And that's it. All those pieces are right where I want them. Now I'm going to go ahead and add this strip onto the bottom because I want it to cover up that flower a little bit. Then to finish the panel, I'm going to go ahead and add our sentiment circle on here as well. A little wet glue to add this to our card base. For my sentiment, I like this Happy Bee Day, and since it's right in the middle, I'm just going to use my scissors and kind of trim through the middle. And then I can use my punch and just wiggle it in there. I want to make sure I can't see the black lines anymore, and then I know that it's centered. I like to add my sentiments with a little bit of removable adhesive in case I change my mind later. And I'm just going to center that on there. And that will finish up card number 1. And I just love how like goofy and wonky these bees are. I think they're so much fun. For card number 2, I'm starting again with an A2 panel, and then I have our pink rectangle here that I have cut out of some pattern paper. I'm using die cuts today, you guys, but that's because I love die cuts, right? You don't have to. Use whatever you have in your stash. Pattern paper can be used for pretty much all of this. Next, I have our gray rectangle, and here I've cut it out of some white shimmer cardstock. That's 3 3/4 by 2 inches, right? So there's our 2 inches, but there's also an optional mat that is 3 3/4 by 2 1/4 inches. And I cut that one too. So I'm going to layer these up first. I will have a margin on the top and bottom, but not on the sides. To add this to my card, again, I'm just going to use some wet glue and I'm going to eyeball it. Down at the bottom, I have my other 2 rectangles, 4 1/4 by 1 1/4 and 4 1/4 by 1 inches, and I will glue those together. Once I have those glued together, then I can go ahead and add this onto the bottom of my card as well. I left both of these rectangles pretty plain because I knew I wanted to add some florals up top, and we're going to cover up a lot of this piece with our sentiment, but you could just use pattern paper on all of that. These two places are a great place to use up some scraps as well. So this is the Lovely Layers Dogwood die cut from Honeybee, and I just think that it's super pretty, but it's also really, really delicate. So while I've already assembled it and it really is just kind of one piece at this point, I am gonna arrange it how I want it. I'm gonna pick this one up with my sticky mat as well, just to make sure that I'm not gonna kind of lose control of it with all of those dainty little pieces on my card. And then I'm just going to lay this right in the corner where I picked it up in the first place and press down. And I can peel that off. I have a little bit hanging off the side here, so I will trim that. For my sentiment, I have two options besides the circles. So if I want to use a rectangular sentiment, I like to cut a mat that's slightly bigger. So that's 1.5 by 2.5 inches. And I can just center that right in the middle there and add my sentiment. Or this is a 3/8 inch strip of pink cardstock that I could run straight through the middle here as well. If I was going to do that, I would probably cut my sentiment into its strip, but then instead of tightening it up and cutting off the excess, I would just run the strip all the way across the length of the card. But I think I like the rectangle for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and add that with some wet glue. And then I'm going to grab my rectangular sentiments and I'm going to put this into my trimmer and I'm going to line up the top and bottom tick marks right on the blade of my trimmer. And then when I go to cut up, I am going to stop right about here. Okay, do not cut all the way through. So I'm going to do that with all of these. Okay, when I'm done, it's going to look like this, and I have these little flaps. Everything is still connected at the top. That way, when I rotate, I still have the tick marks on the sides, and I can connect those in my trimmer next. Okay, I'm lining it up. So here's my top tick mark, here's the bottom one, and I'll slide my blade all the way through. The first one is recycle. And then the second one is going to give me 3 perfect 1.25 by 2.25 inch sentiments. For this card, I'm going to use Happy Bloomin' Birthday. I just think that these dogwoods in bloom are so, so stunning. And I will center that right on my pink cardstock. All that's left is to add this to our card base. And that finishes up card number 2, and it's really simple. All right, my friends, those are our 2 cards for today. I would love to know which of these 2 is your favorite. Then don't forget to let me know what sentiment requests you have coming up. We have kits for Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduation, masculine cards, maybe baby cards, maybe wedding and anniversary, maybe sympathy. So if you have preferences for any of those, let me know. If you have ideas for sentiments or puns, that's super helpful. Also, did you know that there was a bonus kit in March? I know. I will link it in the description box below and at the end of this video. It is like a library book, Harry Potter. I swear they all go together. New home kit that coordinates with the Spellbinders March Club kits. So if you're interested in seeing more of those kits that coordinate with Spellbinder stuff, I want to know that as well. If you are interested in downloading this free kit with 5 pages of sentiments and a card sketch with measurements, all I ask is that you subscribe to my channel. And if you ring that bell, you'll be notified every time there's a free printable coming out. If you have a friend you think might like this kit too, go ahead and share it with them. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I will see you next time.